Hello, my name is Masha and welcome to another Not With Me video. Today I'm making a beautiful sort of clouds inspired bracelet, sort of sunset clouds alpha bracelet, and I love it, so this is a really fun video for me to look back on. I actually filmed this ages ago. I think I made this bracelet in like July and it's now nearly Christmas, so yeah, I'm looking back on this after a while, but I'm glad that I'm here. If this is your first Not With Me video, then be warned that this is not a tutorial. This is just a video in which I make a friendship bracelet and I film the entire thing so that you can watch me make it, I guess, sped up, and we chat about whatever we feel like chatting about. And yeah, as I said, I made this bracelet a while ago. I had a lot of bracelets that I was making at the time. I was doing the 24-hour alpha challenge, and this was actually part of that, so you might recognize it from that video if you've seen it. I was doing a bunch of challenges. I did the 24-hour alpha challenge, and I did the 24-hour regular sort of normal pattern challenge as well, so I had a lot of time lapses filmed. I'm just now getting around to actually recording the voiceover for this, but I really like this bracelet. Looking back on it, I really do love it. There's something about like smaller alphas, like typically I make big alphas. I'm actually currently working on a project that is like a wall hanging, also made out of like the alpha bracelet technique, and that I think has something like 53 strings in width, and it has 11 colors, actually more than 11. It has many colors. It's a beast. It's a beast, and it's taking all of my time to make. So now looking at this sort of smaller one, the good times. I really do need to make more smaller alphas. They are actually like genuinely so much fun to make because this didn't take me too long to make at all. I think this is only like a few hours that it took me. I don't know exactly, but actually, you know what, if you look back on my 24-hour alpha challenge, you might see like timestamps, because I think I timestamped whenever I started and I finished everything, so you might be able to see that. But yeah, I really need to get back to making more smaller alphas because they are really fun, because you sit down, you make them, and then it's like done. So yeah, this wall hanging that I'm working on, I'm actually also filming it for a Not With Me, so that's going to come out later. It's been taking me days. Anyway, I'm really happy with this bracelet. I am a little bit unhappy with sort of the colors. The two pinks that I picked out here, so obviously they're clouds, right? And I was trying to go for like the sunset effect and have, you know, them be pink first of all, but also like have one sort of be shaded a little bit darker than the other one. I think that there is a bit too much contrast here. I think that had the colors been a little bit closer together, like it would have looked slightly better, but it's like very nitpicky. I am still very happy with this bracelet. That's more of a sort of nitpick. I just think that it would have looked even better if they were slightly closer together, you know? I feel like the contrast is a bit much, but I do really like this bracelet and I think it's super cute. But yeah, talking of sort of the bracelets that I'm now currently making and the amount of bracelets that I made over the summer, I feel like I had a very good bracelet year. If you've been watching me for a while, you will know that sort of before I finished university, when I was, and also after that when I was just doing YouTube full time, I made a lot more bracelets than I do now. I was much less busy when I was doing university. I only had like a couple of classes a week and I had a lot of free time. Obviously I also still worked like at a restaurant, but even with that it wasn't like a full-time job, it was part-time. So I did have a lot more free time, and then obviously after I finished university I did YouTube full-time for like a year around that. And I was making a ton of bracelets all the time, but now I've had a full-time job for 2 years now. Yeah, just over actually. And so yeah, for the past couple of years it's been really difficult for me to actually like make a good amount of bracelets. It's, you know, I don't have that much free time, and I also have other hobbies, like I read a lot, and sometimes whatever free time I get I use for that, so it has been quite challenging for me to keep up with sort of making bracelets, but I feel like I did quite a few this year. And specifically over the summer, like I went through a phase with all of these challenges that I was doing that I made so many bracelets. And one of the things that I do with my other hobby, which is reading, which I talk about in my vlogs if you're curious about chatting with me about books, I do read quite a lot. One of the things that I do with reading is I track it. I have a tracker. I have many trackers actually. I use Goodreads because that's sort of the most popular one, I guess, to track your reading. I also use Storygraph, which is another one that gives you a lot of different insights. I have my own sort of reading journal that I like to update, and I like to journal in that. And then I also have an Excel spreadsheet that I've created into which I input all of my sort of reading stuff in there. And I like having all 4 of those things. I honestly, I only really update Goodreads regularly, and then I sort of go back and update the rest of them, because each of those sort of individual things gives me a little bit extra. Like Storygraph shows me certain graphs. I like to journal because then I write my own reviews. I don't like posting my reviews because I feel like they're really personal, but I do like writing my own reviews for myself. And the Excel spreadsheet that I created just gives me a bunch of data. I am a nerd. Like, I'm very much a nerd. My favorite subject in school used to be maths, well, and physics, and computer science. That was my 3 majors in high school. But maths was my favorite subject, and I love numbers. And even now, as like a day-to-day, as part of my job, I do a lot of sort of data analysis. I love numbers, and I love graphs, and I love like seeing how data is represented. Anyway, so that's why I like create a bunch of different graphs for myself for my reading. Point is, I'm thinking of creating something like that, but for bracelets, because I really love tracking my reading. It is so motivational to me. Like, I feel I not only track just like what I read, but I also track like how fast I read it. Not that I'm specifically aiming to read something quickly, but I am just curious how fast I read stuff. There are definitely some books that I like spent 6+ months reading, so I definitely don't aim to read quickly. But yeah, I am curious. And I was actually thinking of starting a challenge to see how long it will take me to make 100 bracelets. I genuinely don't know how long it will take me, like absolutely genuinely do not know. So I am very curious. Like, I wonder if I make 100 bracelets here. I feel like I don't. I feel like maybe I made like 30 bracelets this year. I actually have no idea, because I don't track them. That's the point. Like, I really want to start tracking them and seeing like when I start a bracelet, when I finish a bracelet, do I make more normal bracelets? Do I make more alpha bracelets? What size of bracelets do I prefer? How like much of a bracelet do I make in one sitting? If there's any other correlation, like maybe I prefer seasonal bracelets or something. I feel like if I start doing that, and if I start actually like tracking what I'm doing and how I'm doing it in terms of friendship bracelets, it will be extra motivating, because yeah, as I said, like with reading books, having the ability to track all of that stuff definitely motivates me, because I'm like, ooh, I want to go update my Goodreads as I'm like 30% through this book or whatever. So I am thinking of doing that. Maybe in my next vlog, I'll do that with you guys. I feel like that could be a good thing to do with you guys, and then I can show you my book stuff, because I also talk about books in my vlogs. Anyway, I'm very excited about that, actually. And I'm also very excited about just some upcoming like personal stuff. I also use these Not With Me videos to kind of catch up with you guys, let you know what's been going on in my personal life. I am going to see my sister for Christmas, and I'm so excited. That was actually a very sort of spontaneous plan. I was not planning to go anywhere for Christmas, but my flatmate isn't going to be here, and so I'll be all alone anyway. I don't celebrate Christmas, just FYI. Like, I don't, as a like Russian Orthodox person, not that I'm religious or celebrate Orthodox Christmas either, but point is, I don't celebrate Christmas on the 25th. Long story. But it's still, you know, we get a lot of holiday days, just bank holidays, because, you know, the country celebrates Christmas. So I thought, well, might as well. I'm not going to be here with anyone. Might as well go see my sister. So we made like a spontaneous plan, and I'm going to go see her. I'm very excited. I'm going in just a couple of days, actually. And I'm going to stay there for a while. I'm actually going to be working from there on the couple of days that we have in between sort of Christmas and New Year's. And then after that, I'm going to be flying to meet my dad in Italy, which is going to be very fun. And we're going to do a little bit of a road trip through Italy and France and Switzerland, maybe. And we're going to drive all the way up to Paris and then take the train back to London. And I am so excited about that, because like one of my sort of resolutions, not that I really make resolutions, but you know, it's a nice way to refresh, think about your goals, whatever. One of my resolutions for 2023 is going to be to travel as much as I can, specifically around Europe, because now the sort of all of the restrictions with COVID have mostly passed. There's not really many restrictions left anymore. it's much easier to do, and it's also quite cheap because we've got quite a lot of sort of low cost of flights going around. Obviously you have to then go to the airport at like 3 in the morning, which is not fun, but I am absolutely down to do that if that means that I could go to, like, you know, wherever in Europe for like a couple of days. I'm thinking of like saving up my holiday days from work and doing a couple of like weekend trips. I'm also want to sort of utilize the trains that we have from London, because we have a lot of trains going out. We have a direct train to Paris, to Amsterdam, and to Brussels, I think. So potentially all 3 of those are destinations that I could try, because I don't love flying, to be honest. Not my favorite, but that's my goal for 2023. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to be successful in that, but that is my goal. Anyway, how are you guys? What are your New Year's resolutions? How are you looking forward to this holiday season? I know I didn't really talk about the bracelet much, and I do apologize, but I do love this bracelet. Look how cute it is. It turned out wonderfully. I actually wore this bracelet out a few times. I don't typically wear my bracelets much, as you might have noticed, but I wore this bracelet out a bunch of times, and it was super, super cute, and I love it a lot. Anyway, yeah, I will see you guys soon. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you have a good holiday season. I want to thank my patrons before I go, because it is with their support that I'm able to run this channel. So thank you so much to my patrons. If you also want to become one, there is a link in the description to do that. If you're still looking for a holiday gift, my book maybe could be a good holiday gift. If you're looking to share the bracelet love with someone, The Beginner's Guide to Friendship Bracelets is now out worldwide. You can find the link to purchase it in the description. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!